future, shattered dreams. End of times ain't what it seems.
Hello friends, it's Sam Cheney reporting for Weaponized News. Today's October 9th, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday edition of Weaponized News. We have a lot to get to today. The big news, of course, the Gaza ceasefire truce deal. They're killing people. They're whacking people right up to the minute the thing went into effect. Will it hold? I don't know. Call me cynical. I have my doubts. Ben Gavir's over there raising a stink about it. They all say they've still got to eliminate Hamas. Even Netanyahu says this. And so how are you going to go about doing that? I don't know. I guess allegedly they stopped shooting people for a minute here now. So I guess it's time to celebrate. The head of Hamas says the war is over. We'll see. I have my doubts because there's a much larger agenda going on here for the Greater Aardvark Land Project and to take that whole area. So I just don't see how all this is going to sort out, but we're going to follow it here and report to you. And it is good. Hopefully they stop shooting each other, but they're whacking people right up to the last second, literally. Quite literally, we have those reports. And then government shutdown day number 9 here now. Day number 9. And we can thank Chuck Schumer. So it turns out corrupt Chuck Schumer is more based than any Republican. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? As we've now converted here at Weaponized News to being Chuck Schumer Democrats. Thank you very much. Until they open the Democrat and then open the government again, and then we'll hate the entire government, every single last one of them. None of them are good. You know what I'm saying? None of them. I don't care if you like their rhetoric. They're liars. They're criminals. They're hacks. And they're tyrants. Every single last one of them. Or you wouldn't even work for this crime syndicate known as the U.S. federal government. We've got fallout from National Guard going to Chicago. Looks like the mayor there has declared war on the feds. Maybe he's more based than any Republican now as well. So we're going to get to all that. More fallout from Portland. National Guard there, as Trump has declared. Left-wing domestic terrorist, Antifa, and whoever else he doesn't like. So all that to go over. We have a little bit of public health news, I do believe. Not much. The bird flu's back, so thankfully we can be afraid of something this autumn and fall season as we go into the winter here now. It's bird flu season. Get your miracle. Isn't it all wonderful? And so we have that to cover here. The absurdity just goes, it's never ending. We have some geopolitical news. Russia, Ukraine, it's bad. They're killing the hell out of each other. No end in sight there. It appears. What is this? Russia just launched a massive attack on Ukraine's natural gas production there. According to a report out of Bloomberg, wiping out 60%. Russia has wiped out 60% of Ukraine's natural gas production. So that horrible war is continuing on. And we're like this close as we continue to report from Ukraine using U.S.-issued long-range missiles, Tomahawks, and others to strike inside Russia. And then Russia said they will take that as a declaration of war by America against Ukraine. It'll be against Russia. It'll essentially be the same thing they've been saying for weeks now, or even longer than that. They've been saying it a long time. And we're like this close to Russia saying they're at war with America here. as that horrific war just continues endlessly and senselessly. All that and much more on this Thursday edition of Weaponized News. Thank you for joining us. Again, it's like every other day there's some kind of glitch with the Rumble, so I'm not able to integrate the chat. Sorry, chat on the Rumble. Nobody's there today except for Ruckus. Hi, Ruckus. So Ruckus decided to tune in on the Rumble. Shout out to Ruckus. Everybody tune in to his program, The Boiler Room, after Weaponized News, around 7 o'clock, Boiler Room, and alternate current radio for all things Ruckus. We had a good show yesterday. He was on with us. I'm making updates to the Weaponized News store very soon. Shirts, hats, hoodies, a bunch of different merchandise is going to be available there for your enjoyment and hopefully for your purchase there at the Weaponized News store. I'm working on it, and I worked out a bunch of kinks today, and so things are going smoothly. So I would expect probably by Monday, early next week, there'll be a bunch of new products there in the Weaponized News store, and hopefully we can fund this operation. As well, the good news about the economy, I don't know if it's good news. I guess it all depends on what you're holding, but we did see silver break an all-time high. It went over $50 today, and it went down a little bit. I think it closed in America here at like 49 something, and so there was a little bit of a sell-off. But man, these precious metals, gold and silver, have exploded over the last few months here now. Well, it's back up here now. Live trading going on overseas as U.S. markets have closed. But the spot price for an ounce of silver bullion right now is $49.31. And obviously it's fluctuating as the trading is going on. And then the price of gold, 1 ounce of a gold bullion it sold off a little bit. It broke the $4,000 barrier yesterday, as we reported. It sold off a little bit, but it's hanging right in there at $3,987.61. And of course, fluctuating there. And the Bitcoin is down a little bit, but it's still at $121,630. So there's your update on the most recent major alternatives to the stock market and other investments that many people are interested, I do believe. And I am particularly interested in the silver because once it breaks these different barriers, it could just keep going up. And as we see, historically speaking, silver is very much undervalued compared to gold. Historically, it's a 40-to-1 ratio, and we're way out of whack on that because of all this naked short selling and on it goes, with manipulation by the international bank cartel, JP Morgan and the like, and it's been exposed and came out over and over and over again. Of course, no one ever gets in trouble. I think maybe, if I remember, somebody in the UK had to pay a fine or something, I forget. But anyhow, yeah. And yeah, Trump says there's no inflation. There's inflation, man. Prices are maybe stabilized. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it. You have to shop around. If you shop around, you can find deals on groceries, on gasoline in my area, Fresno County here. But you have to shop around for sure to look for the deals. But that's not like mainstream, inflation's down or anything. That's being a thrifty shopper. So, okay, continuing here. Wanted to get all that out because I do think that is significant, the price of silver and gold today, for that matter, and Bitcoin. I mean, they're all way up here now. So I do think that's significant. as we're racing toward, where are we at? 37.5. Let's just look it up real quickly, and then we'll get into the show here. Check out our friends at the debt clock, U.S. debt clock. Yeah, we're at 30. Damn, this thing's booking. Just like less than a week ago, it was like 37.5. Here, I'll put it on the screen. Now we're at 37.845 right here, right? It's quite literally insane. And so at some point, which I don't claim to know, I don't think anybody knows except for the central bankers that are actually pulling the strings behind all this. But at some point in time, investors in the bonds are going to lose confidence that they can be repaid, and the system will fail, you see, at this pace of debt. So when is it going to happen? I don't know. I don't claim to know. But at some point, it has to happen. Probably right on time for, the central bank digital currencies when they have all that lined up. I'm pretty sure they probably already do. They just know that that's going to be a tough pass, but they'll pass it. Probably Christmas Eve, when everybody's home for Christmas holiday, there'll be like there'll be like Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell, and one other corrupt senator there, and they'll pass some crazy, central banking cryptocurrency slavery system essentially, and tell us how they save the economy and how it's so wonderful and convenient for your use. And you're like, but my phone says I'm not allowed to buy food today because I was mean to a politician on the internet. What? Yeah. We're almost there, man. We're almost there. They're building out digital ID systems all over the world. UK, Big Brother. I think it was like last time I checked, like 13, 14 countries, but the big one's UK. But there's a bunch in Europe. You got van der Leyen announcing at the EU central bank that they're rolling out cashless society, central banking digital currency. Essentially, I don't think they're really calling it those names. They're calling it other names because those names have already been discredited, but it's essentially the same system. You either comply or you don't eat. It's the mark of the beast. You're not allowed to buy and sell, social credit score. I think all the listeners of this show know the routine because this thing's been a long time coming here now, and it's almost here, and it's a friggin' nightmare. So we have that to look forward to. So that is good news, right? Right. Okay. Let's go to this day in history. The noticing was happening all the way back, right? But on this day of October 9th, going all the way back to the year 1290, they were noticing that something was up with these aardvarks and their Satanism. In the year 1290, the last of 16,000 aardvarks are expelled by King Edward I from England. And so people have been noticing a very, very long time here about they just ain't right, man. I'm sorry to tell you this. And I'm not trying to be mean, hateful, or bigoted, but come on, man. They just ain't right. Okay, continuing here. Fast forwarding all the way to the year 1779 on this day. We saw the siege of Savannah, Georgia during the American Revolutionary War. Continental Army General Kashmir Pulaski is wounded by grape shot, a type of cluster munition, and dies 2 days later. Also, or two years later now, in the year 1781, we saw the siege of Yorktown. Americans under George Washington and the French under Canute du Rochambeau. My French is not that good, excuse me. I always suck at pronouncing foreign names and many American names too. I just suck at pronouncing names. Maybe I need to practice on that. Anyhow, we all know George Washington, this French character. So they began their bombardment on Yorktown, the last battle of the American Revolutionary War, Siege of Yorktown, 1781 on this day. 1824, we saw slavery abolished in Costa Rica. In 1854, we saw the siege of Sevastopol during the Crimea War. They're constantly fighting over that. In 1855, we saw American inventor Isaac Singer patent the sewing machine motor, a big part of the Industrial Revolution there. In 1865 on this date, we saw the first U.S. underground pipeline to carry oil is laid in Pennsylvania. In 1876 on this day, we saw the first two-way telephone conversation over outdoor wires. And the government was probably listening in there too. You know what I mean? Wouldn't surprise me. In 1936 on this day, Hoover Dam. If you haven't been there, it's quite a sight to see. I've been to Hoover Dam, and it is quite a engineering feat. But on this day in 1936, Hoover Dam begins transmitting electricity to Los Angeles for the first time. And then the argument is, well, there could be no conspiracy because people would talk. See the Manhattan Project. On this day in 1941, then U.S. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt approves an atomic program that would become the Manhattan Project. What was it? Over 100,000 people in America worked on the Manhattan Project, and nobody said a word about it. They were all compartmentalized in their specialty departments, and they kept that giant conspiracy a secret. So there you go. There's proof that indeed, if there was a giant conspiracy, you would know because someone would leak. Narrative is told and complete disproven by the Manhattan Project, amongst other government conspiracies. In 1946, on this day, we saw the first electric blanket is manufactured and sold for $39.50. In 1947, on this day, we saw the first telephone conversation between occupants of a moving car and an airplane. 1947. I didn't realize they had that technology then. Apparently they did. So they've been holding a lot back from us here now, right? In 1958, we saw Aardvark Land Navy inaugurate its first submarine. And so we do appreciate the sneaky aardvarks underneath the seas in their submarine. In 1980 on this day, we saw the first consumer use of home banking by computer by United America Bank in Knoxville, Tennessee. I didn't realize that you could do banking from your PC, home computer in 1980. Well, that's what this day in history tells us. So I learned something new here. And in 1984, and I don't believe this, but we're going to report it because it's the official story, astronaut Kathy Sullivan becomes the first woman to walk in space during a Space Shuttle Challenger mission STS-41G. Maybe it happened. I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence, but it didn't even happen. And they literally made it all in a Hollywood basement, especially the moon landing. Continuing here, what else do we have? I think that was it for this day in history. Yeah. And then we have this day in our civil liberties history. On this day in our civil liberties history, in 1990, the 1988 Civil Liberties Act signed into law by then President Ronald Reagan on August 10th, 1988, provided for reparations of $20,000 to individual victims of the Japanese American evacuation and internment during World War II. It couldn't happen here. They wouldn't put Americans in internment camps. It already did during World War II, and they barely got a measly $20,000 for it. Think of that. When they were put in there in like what, 45, I believe. They're rounded up and interned. And then in 1990, they barely get $20,000. That's a raw freaking deal, if you ask me. In a ceremony in Washington, D.C. on this day, Reverend Ito of Los Angeles was the first victim to receive a payment. The evacuation and internment of Japanese Americans during World War II, which tyrant President Franklin Delano Roosevelt authorized by executive order on February 19th, excuse me, it was 1942. I said 45 earlier. 42 is widely regarded as the greatest single civil liberties tragedy in American history. About 120,000 people, 90,000 of whom were American citizens, were forcibly removed from their homes and detained in relocation centers that were in practice concentration camps. In addition, the victims lost millions of dollars in personal property as a result of the evacuation. And then the U.S. federal government crime syndicate literally laughs in their face. Here's 20,000 fiat dollars. F you, Japs. You know what I mean? It's so disgusting and so underreported in our history as well. I didn't learn about this till well after high school. So yeah, just truly disgusting. It couldn't happen here. It already did. I get top bunk at the FEMA camp when I jump off the Chuck Schumer corruption train, and then I'll start being pro Department of Homeland Security corruption. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, horrific. Okay, let's get into the news for you today. Here's our segue video. Trump, we're here this morning for a cabinet meeting as my administration continues to deliver for the American people despite the radical left lunatics that shut down our government. The most base Democrats we've ever seen? Is that what he means? I don't know. They're the party of good healthcare. We're living in an alternative reality of just never ending propaganda and lies from the government. Did you just live through the freaking medical intervention period? Shout out over there on the YouTube. We do have Ruckus Mac. Shout out to Mac. I hope you're doing well, Mac. I did get that email, and I didn't know you were under the weather there with medical problems. So I do wish you well and hope that you can manage your situation to your fullest benefit. I'll be thinking of you in my prayers. Okay, I blame the Democrats. I don't know. Yeah, just blame the Democrats. It's all their fault. No, it's the entire government are corrupt. Call them and tell them resign and leave the thing shut down permanently. Democrats block government reopen again for the 7th time. See, these are base Democrats, man. For the 7th time, the Senate tried to reopen the government with a simple just pay the bills plan. U.S. official national debt, 37.845 trillion dollars. It failed. Their just pay the bills plan here. It failed by a vote of 54 to 45 because it needed 60 votes. Most Democrats said nay. This means the government stays shut, and yes, even the military might stop getting paid. Chuck Schumer's take, he literally said things are getting better for Democrats every day. Bold move while troops check their bank accounts. Will we see a revolt by the U.S. military? I don't know. Here's Chuck Schumer, the most based U.S. politician there is right now, for about 5 seconds. There you go. Every day gets better for us. Chuck Schumer with the based meme. This is actually from what Rick Scott, the great conservative. What is he, out of Florida, I believe, senator. Real piece of trash there. So again, there's no good guys. There's no good guys in this game. They're all scum of the earth. We're in almost $38 trillion of debt here now. So they're all just crook, fraud, hacks. While federal workers stress over missed paychecks, military families turn to food pantries, and airports around the country face delays, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are bragging that every day gets better for them. What a disgusting and revealing statement. Democrats are gleeful about inflicting pain on the American people. I have no sympathy for anybody working for the government. Every day gets better for us, Chuck Schumer asserted. And there you go. So maybe, I don't know, don't work for the government. Here's more crying about base Chuck Schumer here on Fox News, the war channel. Damn it, there was no sound. Did we miss all those clips? Freaking blowing it over here, huh? What happened there? Okay, let me try this again. Apologies. There we go. Okay, let's try this again.
Senator, let's talk really quickly about the shutdown, because a lot of people are concerned about that. We're in
Certainly
day
isn't.
9. Will you tell us what, where we're going with this, and when maybe we can open up the government again?
Ainsley, I've heard different numbers. The lowest is that it's costing taxpayers $400 million a day. We'd be well into the $3.6 billion range. I've also heard a $15 billion a week number, which would put us closer to 30. So somewhere in that range is very costly to the American public. But this latest from Chuck Schumer, I mean, I really can't believe this. Chuck Schumer just said yesterday that every day that the government stays shut down is better for us. Ainsley, my question is, who is us in Chuck Schumer's mind? Is it the military that is working without pay overseas?
Terrible quote.
Is it law enforcement that is not being paid while they're being attacked in Portland, Oregon? Is it the air traffic controllers and that system that is not functioning right now and people are being delayed all over America? No, I can tell you who us is. Us is Chuck Schumer and his political career in New York State, because if you polled it right now, he would lose to AOC in a primary. This is all about Chuck Schumer's political future in New York State, and he's holding the United States of America hostage. It's ridiculous, and I'm shocked to hear a comment like that.
Yeah,
How
was it?
Nancy
Pelosi said it's a day at the beach for Republicans. They love that.
He's shocked. Senator Bill Haggerty is shocked. What a hack. Okay, here we go. Schumer taunts Americans as Democrat shutdown crushes them. I didn't feel a damn thing. I felt overwhelming joy that the government shut down. So I don't know what they're talking about. This is an article from the White House. Let's take a look. Chuck Schumer's disgusting claim that every day gets better is a sickening display of elitist indifference as the Democrat shutdown plunges hardworking Americans into anxiety, despair, and financial ruin. What a bunch of bullshit. Nobody even notices or cares. Your taxes are still due. His arrogance lays bare the Democrats' sick betrayal of service members missing paychecks, families turning to food pantries to survive, small businesses teetering on the brink, and travelers facing excruciating delays. Democrats should listen to the Americans across the country paying the price for their political games. A military spouse whose family is in crisis. A service member goes without pay. An air traffic controller who is asked to fulfill their critical job responsibilities without the certainty of their next paycheck. A small business owner who has already laid off 5 of his 80 employees after the Democrat shutdown triggered a stop work order on one of its projects. Really don't have sympathy for you because you have a big fat federal government contract there, don't you, small business owner? So yeah, F you too. A federal contractor whose ability to provide for her family is in jeopardy as she stares down a loss of income. Well, stop working for the crime syndicate. A hair salon owner whose livelihood depends on business from a large number of federal employees in the area. Yeah, well, move. Stop dealing with criminals. A TSA agent who is expected to work without knowing when his next paycheck will come. Abolish the TSA immediately. A tourist whose trip to the nation's capital is dashed by the closure of iconic government attractions. F you and your attractions, government. How you like that? So there you go. What a bunch of BS out of the White House. Okay, here's more. Day 9 of the Democrat shutdown. Schumer and the Democrats are celebrating while Americans are suffering. I'm celebrating too. There you go. Where are we at here? Oh, CNN. Democrats say even missed paychecks for U.S. troops won't be enough to end shutdown alone. Yeah, maybe they should, I don't even want to say it, but the troops should maybe do something about that. I don't know. Here is, see more proof of the based Chuck Schumer. VP Vance, Mr. Technocracy, says that Chuck Schumer is one of the most famous Palestinians in the world. The more they talk, the more I like Chuck Schumer.
I also think the president, Marco mentioned the president's personal touch being a big part of this. The one thing I would say is obviously the president of the United States, a New York real estate billionaire, one of the most famous New Yorkers in the world, has a lot of interaction with a lot of people who are very pro-Israel. I think that was an important set of experiences and life experiences that he brought to the table. He also, of course, knew one of the most famous Palestinians in the world, Chuck Schumer. And I think without that background of knowledge, it would have been impossible to get us to this point.
It's also funny. Chuck Schumer's a Zionist. Total nonsense what these clowns are saying. Democrats are putting free health care for illegals over ensuring our troops get paid. Shameful. Well, do something about it, troops. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Stop pulling the trigger for the man. How about that? How about that idea? Stop killing people for the government. How about that idea, U.S. troops? The longer the shutdown continues, the greater the impact on housing. I don't know where they come up with this. I guess if you're on federal housing, then you're in trouble. You know what I mean? Figure out how to get off of government dependence. Like now would be a good time. Now would, and it's after all they did during the medical intervention, I seriously have no sympathy for any of these people. And you should have learned your lesson, but you didn't. And so now you get what you get. Here's Akeem Jeffries. Says Democrats are completely aligned with Chuck Schumer. Disgusting claim that every day gets better.
Yesterday, Leader Schumer indicated that the longer this goes on, this is better for the Democrats. Do you believe, as Republicans suggest, that's a calloused remark, that this is kind of a scorekeeping going on here?
House and Senate Democrats have been completely aligned.
Yesterday, Leader Schumer indicated that the longer this goes on, this is better for the Democrats.
Despite the Democrats' shutdown, our government, our law enforcement officers are out there working without paychecks around the clock to keep and make America safe. The government can't and won't keep you safe. This is nothing but propaganda and lies from the Justice Department.
Despite the Democrat shutdown of our government, our law enforcement officers are out there working without paychecks, round the clock, to keep and make America safe. Secretary Hegseth and I were recently in Memphis. We had 1,100 law enforcement officers in one room with us. The Memphis PD, they were the happiest to see us, don't you think, Secretary Hegseth, of anyone. We had ATF, DEA, FBI, U.S. Marshals.
Literal clown world type behavior. How the Memphis PD has failed miserably at their job there of carrying out law and order in the city when they have to bring in all these feds.
I'm not sure if our park police were there. We had Treasury, Secretary Bessent, and of course we had Secretary Noem's Homeland Security, all working together with the Guard. They were so happy to have us there. We've been making arrests left and right. So far, we made 562 arrests and seized 144 illegal guns. Just in the short time we...
Gun grabber Bondi there. Good conservative for you. Yeah, Ruckus says this is only good for technocracy. Indeed, indeed. All these dependents on government paychecks are going to come to learn that you've already been AI'd, automated out of here. You know what I mean? As we continue to report. With the government running Palantir Foundry operating systems now. So they did find time for jokes, though, at the White House today. Here's one of them. They say social media manager still furloughed thanks to the Dems, but photo dump. And of course, it's horrible photos with the finger over the lens here, right? And like, why are you taking a photo of that? Blurry photo there, and another one with the finger over the lens. Yuck it up while you can. You'll be out of a job there soon too, social media manager. And then of course, Christian Zionist, evil man, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. What a piece of trash this guy is.
I just want to summarize everything this morning, as I've been doing on some interviews earlier today. This morning, Americans are watching a remarkable split screen. Two things happening simultaneously, and there's a rather stunning contrast between the two. On one screen, you see President Trump and Republicans delivering for the American people. You see President Trump and Republicans cutting taxes for hardworking American families. You see us ending the border crisis, ending the crime crisis. You see us eliminating fraud, waste, and abuse in government, and now resolving violent conflicts around the world.
They literally didn't eliminate any waste, fraud, or abuse. That was all a giant scam to implement technocracy. I can't take any more of this clown, Mr. Aardvark Land himself. Ruckus made the announcement, no boiler room tonight. Well, don't be dependent on government, and maybe you could have a boiler room. Just kidding, just kidding. Sadly, there will be no boiler room with Ruckus tonight. So we'll have to catch them maybe over the weekend. I don't know. They're seem shook up over there about the government shutdown. Should be celebrating like me. Okay, the Finnish president came to visit the White House today. Alexander Stubb. And let's see if we can spy a Freemason handshake here, as has become customary to try to see here with Trump and whoever visits them at the White House, world leaders. And they always do this handshake at the front door before they go in there. And we've spied a few Freemason handshakes here now. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard from that angle. They're giving us this angle lately, so it's hard to spy if they're really doing a Freemason handshake or not. Here's a different angle. Let's take a look here if we can spy it here. Yeah, still kind of hard to see. Yeah.
President.
Couldn't really see it. Couldn't really see it very well there with that vehicle in front. Trump strikes a deal to leverage Finnish expertise in constructing up to 4 Arctic security cutters, U.S. Coast Guard icebreakers in Finland. Let's hear from Trump make this announcement. And again, the gaudy gold is just like, dude.
I was with you, and I ended up meeting you and knowing you, and I heard about Finland and their icebreakers, and I said, do me a favor, would you have your people take a look at what these people are doing? And it came out that, just as I thought, they had no idea what they were doing. And we got involved, and we ended up, we need these ships very badly, because we have a lot of territory, more than anybody. And so I'm very honored to have this deal, and thank you very much. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great partnership.
And a little bit more here. Yeah, we'll see about this.
I want to congratulate you for what we have seen in the past 24 hours in Gaza.
Thank you.
I think it's a historic deal. I went through the 20 points. It's almost like the best of record. You really see all the key elements. And if someone would have said a few weeks back that you and your team are able to push us to a position where there will be a ceasefire, an exchange of prisoners, hostages, and then a pullback, would not have believed it. But this is what diplomacy is at its best, and I think it's a potentially huge deal. So congratulations to you and your team.
Peace in the Middle East.
Peace in the Middle East, yeah.
And every country came together. Every single country came together, and people are shocked by it. But it's an amazing situation. Nobody thought it was going to happen. Thank you very much, and you've been of help too.
I'll be honest, I didn't think it was going to happen. I still don't think it's going to happen. They're acting like something, but I still don't believe them. Never trust aardvark land. Grand jury indicts New York Attorney General Letitia James. Remember, she famously had went after Trump, a Trump opponent, on bank fraud charges. James, a Democrat, has clashed with President Trump after bringing civil charges against him in New York. Let's watch the ABC News report about it. Can it load? Maybe we won't. We'll just read it. Oh, here we go.
Correspondent Kelly O'Donnell joins me now with more. Also back with us is NBC News legal analyst Carol Lamb. Kelly O'Donnell, let me start with you. Talk about the significance of this. What more do we know?
Well, of course, this is set against the backdrop of the president having identified Letitia James, a Democratic statewide attorney general for New York, as one of his perceived political enemies. She, of course, in her political career brought charges against the president and also talked openly in her campaign about wanting to challenge President Trump from a legal point of view.
His perceived political enemies? She brought charges against him. She is his political enemy. So I guess we're going to see how that sorts out with her mortgage fraud grand jury indictment there in New York. Again, the entire government, every one of them, is a criminal. And you're seeing it, but it's picking and choosing here and there who they're going to go after. They allegedly targeted Trump. Now he's getting retribution. And the corruption will continue, though. Don't worry about that. And your taxes are due if you file for extension on October 15th. Well, today, the White House made a proclamation declaring it Leif Erikson Day. Here it is, said proclamation. Leif Erikson. More than a millennium ago, legendary Norse Viking Leif Erikson forever changed the course of history when he fearlessly embarked on a daring expedition into the unknown, becoming the first European to ever set foot in the New World. This Leif Erikson Day, happy Leif Erikson Day, and day 9 of the government shutdown. This Leif Erikson Day, we summon his courage, we honor his enduring legacy of adventure and exploration, and we renew our resolve to advance the limits of human achievement. And I'm not going to read this whole statement, but happy Leif Erikson Day to you out there. And then also, the racist hate monger Trump has proclaimed today Columbus Day will be on October 13th, 2025. So everybody loves the Italians. Trump loves the Italians, but some people say it's that Columbus was a colonial, tyrannical oppressor. I don't know. You be the judge.
Good. Columbus Day. We're back. Columbus Day, we're back, Italians. We love the Italians. Okay. Good. Columbus Day.
So we love the Italians. So, yeah, 2 big explorers there, Leif Erikson and Columbus Day. So what is it? What they declare it the 13th? Is it going to be a federal holiday? I don't even know. I just saw them posting the videos. When will the 13th be? The 13th will be this coming Monday. I don't know. Is that going to be a federal holiday? Government's closed anyway, right? I don't know. We got to take a look, dig a little deeper what they're doing over there at the federal government about Columbus Day. Okay. Where are we at? Public health section here now. Trump, we have 82 miracles that we give simultaneously. That's not true, but okay. And I'm a miracle believer, by the way. I believe in a lot of miracles, but when you give 82 miracles in a shot to a little baby that hasn't even formed yet, that's a lot of miracles. That they don't do that, but okay. I'm glad that he's a big miracle guy here. The father of the greatest miracle ever that saved the entire world.
About the Pennsylvania Dutch, you were talking about the Amish, where they don't take any of this stuff, and they have virtually none, right? They have no autism. So we're doing something very bad. Somebody's been given some bad things. Other countries, by the way, we have, I think, we have 82 vaccines that we give simultaneously. And I'm a vaccine believer, by the way. I believe in the polio vaccine. I believe in a lot of vaccines. But when you give 82 vaccines in a shot to a little baby that hasn't even formed yet, it's a lot of vaccines. And in Japan, they give a much smaller number. In Germany, they give a much smaller, like 28 vaccines. That's a lot too, but 28 is a lot different than 82. So, but I would say on the Tylenol, don't take it. And
is he saying that? Like, does he seriously not know how it works, or he's just saying that to discredit himself? I don't get it. Like, dude, nobody's getting 82 miracles in one shot.
And that will be, I think it's going to be a big factor. I think it'll be a very good result, and I hope we're going to be able to see that result in the not too distant future, because certainly people have heard us loud and clear. That's why I bring it up again. That's why I asked you to talk about it, because this is a horrible thing.
What's up with Hegseth? And little Marco, they're just like, what?
And if you don't take it, I mean, you have to tough it through sometimes. There are other things you can do, but you have to tough it out. It's easy for me to say, but I think you're going to see numbers that will be it'll be so significantly improved, and maybe fully improved. I mean, there's something there. There's something going on, and we have to address it. And so I'm addressing it.
It's so tiresome. We know damn well what's going on with it. What do we got here? Bobby Kennedy Jr. And what does he say? I'll just read it to you here. One of the listeners said, sometimes you're better off just reading it and not even playing the clip. I agree. We're doing something that every administration, Democrat and Republican, has been saying that it was going to do for decades, and you got it done. You should be getting bipartisan accolades. He's talking about lowering prescription drug prices. Okay. Don't do drugs, kids, if at all possible. Oh, we love Big Pharma. Trump effect. AstraZeneca plans to increase investment and scope of its Virginia manufacturing facility to $4.5 billion, creating 3,600 new jobs. Go Maha. This is what it's all about. A new AstraZeneca manufacturing plant there in Virginia. That's what Maha is all about, right? Yeah. And then the bird flu, the consummate fear-mongering outlet over there at NBC News. They love to pump it. And that one, I don't remember her stupid name, Brandy something or other. What a hack. But she's consistently pro-miracle and consistently bashes, shames, bullies anyone against it. But they never seem to have any problems with all of their, tactics and antics on the interwebs. It's just people like you and I that don't agree with their public health policy that they smear and libel against. And they're just essentially mercenaries for Rockefeller medicine, complete and utter hacks. But I think we should probably crank our fear up for the bird flu. It's back, using, of course, the fraudulent PCR testing. Bird flu is spreading again, as waterfowl migrate. Poultry cases are spiking earlier than expected. So some state officials are bracing for a challenging autumn. But I thought they had a miracle that, well, it works so good it doesn't work. And so there you go. It was a quiet summer for the bird flu. Egg prices fell a bit. Fewer sick poultry flocks were cold on farms, and officials took a breath. But they're back to fearmonger this fall. We appreciate that, don't we? Bird flu is spreading again, now in wild water fowl. Geese, ducks, and cranes have begun their seasonal migrations. As these birds travel, they mingle at lakes and ponds and share viruses. Sure they do. In poultry, bird flu cases are spiking earlier than expected. More than 4 million poultry birds have been culled in the last month in states including Minnesota and Iowa, after members of their flock tested positive for the bird flu H5N1. The trend corresponds to a spike in infections detected amongst wild birds in northern states. They're using the PCR test. Come on, man. On to, well, let's take our live commercial break here now, and then we'll come back with martial law, police state news, all for your own safety. All for your own safety. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com. Get yourself a holograph sticker, a white background sticker, or a clear sticker here. Put on your laptop, your guitar, your bumper, your work locker, or your Cybertruck, and help spread the word about independent reporting and analysis at Weaponized News. And again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I'm adding some more items there to the Weaponized News store. It should be up and going there. I'm going to say early next week, hopefully Monday. I'm shooting for Monday, but sometime next week. I've been working on it, and I made some breakthroughs, figured some stuff out, as I am not a computer programmer by training, but self-taught over here. And so I do what I got to do. And I figured a bunch of stuff out today working on it. And so it's looking good. So you can expect t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and some other items there to populate the Weaponized News store in the very near future. Let's hear now a message from our sponsor, Abba Zaba Enterprises, and we will be back. Did Abba Zaba get removed too? I think it did. I don't know what, I had some kind of glitch over here, and I wound up, oh no, here it is. Well, let's hear from Abba Zaba Enterprises. But if you notice at the very beginning of the show, the intro, I did find that again. I don't know how it got removed, but it did. Anyhow, here's a word from our sponsor, and we'll be back with the second half of the show for you.
Running a small business feeling overwhelmed by numbers and paperwork? Abba Zaba Enterprises has your back. Our expert business solutions include accounting, QuickBooks support, payroll, taxes, and top-notch consulting. Let us handle the details so you can focus on growing your business. Business Solutions Accounting, QuickBooks, Consulting, Payroll, Taxes. Call 559-577-9250. Call Abba Zaba Enterprises today at 559-577-9250 for stress-free solutions.
And we're back, friends. Welcome back to the second half of Weaponized News on this October 9th, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday broadcast. We have the good news of day 9 of the government shutdown. We have the good news of the truce there in Gaza, allegedly. Let's go on to our martial law reporting and what is going on there in Chicago. Let's hear from the king of the miracles and the king of Aardvark land, President Trump.
as a primary, but literally when you see it colored in, the entire country is red representing Republicans. So, you know, they go around, they just lie. They just lie. And everything's a big lie with them. Well, the other side, and the other thing I don't understand is, Christie, I looked at crime numbers in Chicago. They're through the roof, and I have a governor who stands up every day and tells us how wonderful Chicago is. Just a lie. It's like a con job. It's like Gavin Newsom. He says how well he's doing in California, and they're doing terribly. Population's getting smaller. People are leaving, and other people are coming in. And you know, I wouldn't say it's an even trade. Well, as a
Really? But the problem is Trump's lying too, you see. They're all lying. There's no good guys in the government. The Trump administration goes to court to defend Chicago and National Guard deployment efforts. And I do believe we had a ruling. Yes, indeed, we did. Federal judge blocks Trump from federalizing Illinois' National Guard for 2 weeks. They do love their 2 weeks there now, don't they? A federal judge blocked Trump today from federalizing or deploying National Guard members to Illinois for at least 2 weeks. We need 2 weeks to flatten the crime there in Chicago, you see. The judge said continuing to militarize the response to local protests was likely the cause of civil unrest. You think? This comes as the Trump administration has delayed military and federal law enforcement, or deployed military and federal law enforcement to conduct immigration enforcement operations, including Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago. The temporary restraining order lasts 2 weeks and prevents the president from using National Guard forces in the state during that time period, according to the Wall Street Journal. And then here is our based mayor, Brandon Johnson. He's declaring a war on the feds.
This is not about immigration. This is about a president who wants to enact authoritarianism in this country, where the rule of law doesn't apply to him and to one individual alone. And that's why I'm doing everything in my power to defend the people of this city and to lead a resistance that, quite frankly, is desperately needed to protect our democracy and our humanity.
The White House claims, this president claims, that it's the residents of this city that need protection from the federal.
This is not
All right. Continuing here. Oklahoma's Republican governor criticizes National Guard deployment in Chicago. Governor Kevin Stitt, the current chairman of the National Governors Association, broke with Texas, saying Oklahomans would lose their mind if Illinois sent troops to their red state. You think? Finally, a conservative here. Geez, where you been, dude? Used to be every conservative would be up in arms about a president doing this, but now they're all MAGA bootlickers, you see. That's the problem. Sellout, hack, liars. Promises made, promises kept. This post is by the Department of Homeland Security. Under the leadership of Trump and Ice Barbie, Gnome, dog killer lady, the foreign-born population in the United States has decreased by 2.2 million this year. And if we're to believe the lying government, which I don't, but it's all the numbers we got, 2 million are self-deported, according to them. And so that means that, they only deported 200,000? You know what I mean? According to their numbers here. Here is their little chart. There you go. The problem isn't foreign-born people in America. It's illegal aliens that have broken our immigration laws. If you're foreign-born and you follow immigration laws, then there's no problem, you see. Okay, did we play? I think we missed this clip yesterday, but I remember people in the chat were talking about it. Anyhow, here's that clip of ICE shooting this pastor with a was it a rubber bullet? I think it's a rubber bullet. They didn't shoot him with a real bullet, but he's standing in the way, blocking the ICE facility driveway. Let's take a look. Where was this at? Let me read. Let me give you more context and detail here. The video of this incident is just as bad as it sounds. The priest is standing there, not doing anything remotely illegal, without warning, a masked Department of Homeland Security agent on the roof shoots him in the top of the head with a pepper ball. And then the government's response to this, they say this footage is from almost a month ago. What this clipped video doesn't show is that these agitators were blocking an ICE vehicle from leaving the federal facility, impeding operations. Over and over again, law enforcement ordered these agitators to move off of federal property so the vehicle can move. Law enforcement verbally warned these agitators that they would use force if they did not move and stop impeding operations. They did not comply. Shortly after, rioters began throwing rocks, bottles, and launching fireworks at law enforcement officers on the roof. At the time of this incident, this facility held criminal illegal aliens, including gang members, drug traffickers, and other violent criminals. Obstructing law enforcement puts officers, detainees, and the public at risk. If you are obstructing law enforcement, you can expect to be met with force. And as a side note, this is the same, quote, pastor who flipped Ice Barbie and our team, The Bird, when we were there last week. Here is said incident of DHS shooting the godly man that flips the bird, allegedly, according to the government, at them with a pepper ball in the head. Got him. See that? There you go. Boom. Yeah. Get out of the road, dude. That was a pretty good shot with a pepper ball there. Let's hear Ice Barbie on the War Channel. What did she say? DHS Secretary Ice Barbie blasted Democrats for government shutdown affecting TSA workers in a video. Let's watch her blasting abolish TSA.
Hi, I'm Christy Nome, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. It is TSA's top priority to make sure that you have the most pleasant and efficient airport experience as possible while we keep you safe. However, Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government, and because of this, many of our operations are impacted, and most of our TSA employees are working without pay. We will continue to do all that we can to avoid delays that will impact your travel. And our hope is that Democrats will soon recognize the importance of opening the government.
So there you go. The TSA will now date rape you at the airport for free. They're not even getting paid. They're just doing it for the thrill of it and to keep us safe from the terrorists that they've never caught, of course. More about Portland here.
Well, sir, thank you for your leadership and for deploying all of government to help us keep our country safe. You have talked extensively about how threatened our ICE officers are, but all of our law enforcement out there. And we saw the shooting in Dallas at that facility, so we're hardening all of our buildings and making sure that we have more security measures, snipers on the roof, people to protect our law enforcement while they're out there on the streets. But what I'm also doing, sir, is, and with your authority, is we're purchasing more buildings in Chicago to operate out of. We're going to not back off. In fact, we're doubling down, and we're going to be in more parts of Chicago in response to the people there. And then I was there a few days ago and looked at some facilities that we can deploy more law enforcement out of. Because what they're trying to do with these riots and violence is distract us and keep us from going after those murderers and rapists that are out in the streets. And then I was in Portland, went out and back on Tuesday, and met with the governor, met with the mayor, met with the chief of police and the superintendent of the highway patrol. They are all lying and disingenuous and dishonest people. Because as soon as you leave the room, then they make the exact opposite response. So we're looking at new facilities to purchase.
She just said the entire Oregon government essentially is dealing with the law enforcement, DHS and ICE. It's all lying. I think that's pretty significant.
They're in Portland too, and we're going to double down. And I told them if they didn't meet our demands for safety and security on the streets and work with us, then we were going to bring in more federal law enforcement. So I want to thank Pete.
When you invoke the Insurrection Act already, do something. That's pretty intimidating to have DHS snipers on the roof, wouldn't you say? And they're, as she just said, they're buying a bunch of properties for what? To house illegal aliens, supposedly? I don't know. It's all very shady.
And the Department of War for all their help. They've been fantastic, but while we fight litigation and work with Pam on that, we're going to send more of our resources and men and women out there to keep everybody safe. So no worries. What we see in DC and what we see.
Keep everybody safe, don't you know? They said, somebody in the YouTube said that tell the birds to social distance. We need social distancing. We need the whole routine, right? The masks, the test, the fraudulent PCR test. We know I'm testing what 2, 3, 5 times a day. I'm going to pump that fear up this winter as the bat problem seems to have gone away. The new problem on the horizon here, the miracle already in the works. So it's the same routine, and it's just so tiresome. They create the problem. They push a bunch of propaganda out there, fear-based mind control, and then the public begs for the solution. Well, here's your miracle, and it was already all baked into the plan, you see. But we're not supposed to say this. We're supposed to say they're the great saviors when they've engineered this whole thing. And so indeed, it is a racketeering operation. The government will save us from the crisis that it creates, i.e., it's a racketeering protection racket operation, your government. You see how this works now? Okay. More about Portland. I think we have video. Here's some images from the Department of Homeland Security. They say in Portland and across America, threats and vile attacks will not alter our course. These Antifa domestic terrorists are on the side of criminal illegal aliens. Department of Homeland Security is surging resources to support our officers. We will not stop. We will not be detoured. Law and order will triumph. Here's some images of some protesters getting hauled out of the protest there in at the ICE facilities in Portland. A few images here. I don't know why they pull all the shirts up. I guess to search them, I would assume. And then here's video of some more protests. This is from ICE. Violent protesters continue to obstruct official duties outside our Portland facility, assault and or obstruct law enforcement, get arrested and face the consequences. ICE will not be detoured. Third is the word indeed there in public health this fall. Not all outside our ICE facility are violent, allegedly. ICE says this is a supporter. I really appreciate you guys. Maybe it is. I don't know. I have a hard time believing anything this government says, and has become customary here now. We're documenting all of the propaganda posters by the ICE and Department of Homeland Security, and they sure are cranking out a lot, even on furlough. Here's another one they put out today. Stand for Liberty. uscis.gov/join. They're constantly recruiting, and I don't even know why at this point. They said they were looking to hire 10,000 new agents, and they had over 100,000 applicants. So why are you still recruiting? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, here's J.B. Pritzker. He is aiding and abetting violent criminals. That's the Department of Homeland Security saying this. If this is true, then charge him. You know what I mean? Or bring back, as I continue to call for, pistol duels. J.B. Pritzker and Trump need to have a pistol duel and have all the proceeds donated to charity for the victims of gang violence in Chicago. Or charge him. If the Department of Homeland Security says he's aiding and abetting criminals, then charge him with that, or shut up.
I think what's really important for viewers to understand, though, is what's happening with J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson. As our law enforcement is being attacked and as the public is put in danger and at risk, those local law enforcement officers are told to stand down. They're told to not help our law enforcement as they're being attacked. That's so important because we do need to have that backup. And that's why President Trump has brought in the resources. He's brought in the National Guard to make sure that the public is safe and make sure our law enforcement is safe. As we've said how many times here, our law enforcement is facing 1,000% increase in assaults against them. It's not just Chief Bovino who has a bounty on his head. We actually just found out from recent reporting that there's more bounties. We have reports $2,000 for a single ICE agent to be killed, $5,000 for a mid-tier officer. It's really disgusting what's happening. I think what's really important for viewers.
That's crazy. Shout out to Dick Moose. He heard the cat meow. Meow? Meow. Is that true? That is crazy if they're putting bounties on ICE officers' heads. Really? The first I heard of this, it is escalating. Aurora, Illinois, a violent lunatic just attacked members of our federal law enforcement. Yeah, you got balls doing this. I wouldn't advise it. This is a post by Department of Homeland Security. Let's take a look. This guy throws a rock through the back window. See that? Dude, that's crazy, man. That's pretty crazy. Homeland Security says Newsom has blood on his hands. That's the governor here of the great state of California. This serial criminal illegal alien killed 6 innocent people while drunk driving after California authorities ignored an arrest detainer logged by ICE. This character right here, they claim. Sanctuary policies protect the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens. Under ICE Barbie, we will do everything in our power to remove this serial drunk driver, abuser, and drug user from our country. Yeah, that guy has that weird skin condition, apparently. That guy's in bad shape. But thankfully, Governor Newsom let him back on the street to kill 6 innocent people in California. Some good news here. We've reported on this in the past. crypto investor known as Bitcoin Jesus, Roger Ver, big libertarian hero kind of guy. In the Trump administration's latest example of dialing back cryptocurrency enforcement, Roger Ver agreed to pay about $48 million to end a tax fraud case. They had been going after him big time. I think it was held up over there in Spain, I want to say, if I remember correctly. The details, we haven't reported on it in a while. We knew he was wanted by the feds, and it wasn't looking good for him. Let's see here. The Department of Justice to table a criminal tax fraud case that federal prosecutors brought against him last year. Mr. Ver, V-E-R, 46 years old, known as Bitcoin Jesus in crypto circles for his early evangelism of crypto, was charged by federal prosecutors last year with fraud and tax evasion for failing to pay $48 million in taxation theft that he owed on his digital currency holdings. And so now he's made a deal with them to pay it and not face further prosecution, according to this story out of the failing New York Times. There you go. So that is a good thing, actually. I don't know if it was a good thing to pay this much money, but hey, that's what you got to pay the extortionist in the protection racket to not terminate you or throw you in a cage. So I guess that's the price of freedom for Roger Ver. At least he's not in prison. Okay, take a look at this post by Thomas Massey. In replying to Marsha Blackburn, she says, we need to know why AT&T and Verizon did not challenge the subpoena for the phone records of 8 U.S. senators when the Biden FBI spied on us during the anti-Trump probe. There needs to be a reckoning for this. And Massey replied, it's called the Patriot Act, FISA and CISA. Please vote no next time. Yeah, they're trying to make hay out of this. It's like, hey, lady, they're right now as I speak, all our electronic communications are being gathered up by the National Security Agency. And so what about that? They don't care. They're voting yes on the Patriot Act. So it's more fraud and lies and fake outrage. Oh my gosh, they spied on 8 U.S. senators. Whoop-de-freaking-do. Whoop-de-freaking-do. They were spying on you anyway without this other probe gathering all your electronic metadata, you see, to target you at any time. But if I'm not doing anything wrong, I have nothing to worry about. Well, they'll find something. Don't you worry about that, you good citizens. Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, the whole world knows that we have the biggest, strongest, and most lethal War Department in the world. Listen to this maniac, Pete Hegseth.
Mr. President, you're exactly right. At the War Department, you don't get peace without strength. And our job is to be the strength part of the equation and deliver that when necessary, as you demonstrated with your order of Midnight Hammer, and the entire world saw. And I just want to echo what Marco said. It is a personal honor to be able to witness the way you lead and negotiate. I wish people had a full understanding of what that looks like, that historic nature. A lot of us vets, the Vice President, Tulsi, Lee, Doug, probably after decades of war and the chaos that was unleashed through reckless and foolish American policies, never thought this kind of peace would be possible. Yet, with your strength, with your ability to wield trade negotiations, personal relationships, To open up that opportunity is truly historic on the world stage. And it creates a whole number of other cascading effects. And watching Marco and the Vice President and Steve and Jared, the CIA Director, everybody come together to make it happen. You've formed a phenomenal team, Mr. President. And at the War Department, our job is to make sure if and when there's question about American commitment, the whole world knows we've got the biggest, strongest, most lethal, and most ready War Department in the world, which is true, which is why we saw record recruitment in 2025, Mr. President. The first 2 weeks of 2026 already blows that out. FY 2026 already blows it out of the water.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Dick Moves, that probably is a violation of the flag code there that they will throw you in jail for now if you burn. There in his lapel pocket. Good catch there. But hey, he's the Secretary of War. He's a tough guy. And so, yeah, it's okay for him to do it. America, you see. Maybe Spain should be thrown out of NATO. That's what Trump says here now.
We had one laggard. It was Spain. Spain. You have to call them and find why are they a laggard. And they're doing well, too. You know, I think because of a lot of the things we've done, they're doing fine. They have no excuse not to do this, but that's all right. Maybe you should throw them out of NATO, frankly.
Because they went against the aardvarks, because they don't want to fund the Russia-Ukraine war. Again, this is Trump with the president of Finland there today at the White House.
Are you going to step up the pressure for a Ukraine deal?
Yeah, we are stepping up the pressure. We're stepping it up together. We're all stepping it up. NATO's been great. The leader of NATO, as you know, Mark, has been fantastic, I think, and he's a fantastic guy. And they are stepping it up. And we're selling a lot of weapons to NATO, and that's going, I guess, to Ukraine for the most part. That's up to them. But they're buying weapons from the U.S. We make the greatest weapons in the world. You buy our planes and a lot of our...
There you go. Isn't it wonderful to be a war profiteer? Just no shame. Mac says, I have a question. What's your question, Mac? Here's Zelensky. He says, even Hamas is showing willingness to negotiate, but not Putin for now. A massive Russian barrage targeting the Kharkov and Platov regions has wiped out about 60% of Ukraine's natural gas production capacity, according to a report out of Bloomberg. As the Russia-Ukraine war just continues, the meat grinder that it is, killing Russians and Ukrainians. And America profits from it. As Victoria Nuland said, don't you worry about it. All the money we're sending over there, it's all coming back here to create munitions to kill Russians. So you should be cheering it on. Forget the fact that it could, we could potentially, we're like hanging on a freaking thread about going to direct war with Russia. Forget about that. It's worth it for the war profiteers, you see. The U.S. Treasury finalized a $20 billion currency swap with Argentina and directly bought Argentina pesos to help stabilize the country's economy. But I thought Mr. Anarcho-capitalist, chainsaw the government man here, Millet, converted aardvark and proud Zionist, had everything together. He's an economics professor, and he told us that his policies were going to turn around the Argentinian economy. Turns out not without a bailout from the U.S. Federal Reserve. Funny how that all worked out, isn't it? Why do respectable European leaders grant their grant their own dignity to unhinged and strange men like Trump's team? I don't know. I don't know. Why, Mac? Because we got the big guns over here, I guess, would be my only reasoning. Tensions now. One is dying down there a little bit, possibly. Gaza aardvark land. Now we see a report today. Pakistan reportedly conducted an airstrike on Kabul, Afghanistan. Fighter jets were reportedly spotted over the skies in Kabul. So, I don't know. There's not any other details about what that's all about, but you're definitely not beating Afghanistan. You know what I mean? Russia couldn't beat them. America couldn't beat them. You're not beating Afghanistan. So, I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully that doesn't escalate. Former Iranian foreign minister and supreme leader advisor Ali Akbar Valyati warns that Gaza ceasefire might coincide with renewed conflict in Iraq, Yemen, and or Lebanon. We still have the Greater Aardvark Land project going on here, you see. They still have to take this area. They're going to take some of Syria. They're going to take southern Lebanon. They got to take some of Jordan too, and some of Egypt. I don't know how they're going to pull that off, but they're working on disarming Hezbollah up in Lebanon, if you could see right here. And yeah, so don't you worry. They're still working on the Greater Aardvark Land project. U.S. hits Iran with new sanctions on oil export network. The United States has imposed new sanctions on more than 90 individuals, entities, and vessels accused of facilitating Iran's petroleum and petrochemical exports in a bid to cut off Tehran's oil reserves. The measures target networks spanning the UAE, India, China, Hong Kong, Singapore, as well as a shadow fleet of vessels and key infrastructure. Treasury Secretary Bissett said the move aims to degrade Iran's cash flow and disrupt funding for groups threatening the United States and its allies. The State Department also sanctioned around 40 additional actors tied to Iran's energy trade, including major petroleum buyers and petrochemical buyers. Syrian Alawites protest child abduction and sectarian murders there. But we were told that the new president of Syria is now a good guy by Trump and at the UN. And so he's a reformed radical jihadist terrorist, Western intelligence asset that's still killing the hell out of people there in Syria. So somehow he gets a pass. You know what I mean? Isn't that so strange how he would get a pass for just murdering Syrians? Or is it not so strange, actually? Okay. It's been terrible for aardvark since October 7th. ABC affiliate WKBW TV reports. Let's take a listen. It's pretty... do you feel unsafe? The reporter eventually asked. And they say no. But hey, what the hell? Perpetual victimhood suits them well now, doesn't it?
Our community has really been traumatized.
Rabbi Alex Lazarus Klein met me at Congregation Shir Shalom in Amherst to offer his reflections on the Hamas-led attack 2 years ago in Israel.
And it's almost as if that day just has been there this whole time. And it's been terrible.
And it is here at this synagogue that Rabbi Alex provides comfort to his congregation. He says the last 24 months have been the most intense time as a Jewish man.
If I was going to go back in time a couple of years and come back to this moment, I wouldn't believe it. Just the sense of threat, the lack of security, the attacks on our identity, it's constant and unending, and it's very, very difficult.
Rabbi Alex tells me the Jewish community continues to face anti-Semitism.
Anti-Semitism comes out, and Jews have been under attack for thousands of years. Every time we think that we're safe, something switches, and suddenly the situation changes.
Do you feel unsafe?
Personally, no. But I know in our community that we...
Personally, no, but we're still the victims, and I don't know, does it have anything to do with the synagogue of Satan? I don't know why. We just don't seem to know why everybody's always mean to us throughout history. I don't know. You're doing dark occultic satanic rituals that most normal people are not hip with, man. You know what I mean? The tiniest violin plays. Yeah, cry harder, buddy. But as information liberation, Chris Meehan says, he says get ready for the sob stories to be never ending here now. They're going to embrace the victimhood, as we know, and it's just going to be stories that make you want to throw up over and over and over again. Are you in any danger, any threats against you? No, but you know, it could be, because everybody hates us. Well, you just genocided what, 70,000? We don't even have a correct body count, like something like 70,000 Trump said today. We passed 66,000 dead Palestinians officially. I do believe it's way more than that last week, right? So, well, I wonder, we just don't know why. We don't know why. And I'm for this, actually. Let's take a... Aardvark groups are forming well-armed gun clubs in response to rising antiseptic behavior out there. Well, good for you guys. But I'm sure they're going to spin it, twist it some way. Only aardvarks are allowed to have the right to self-defense, you see.
Some of the highest rates of anti-Semitism in the country. Being Jewish, I have to fear for my life every day wherever I go.
At a gun range in a suburb of New York City, Jay Werner and a growing number of other Jewish people are honing their shooting skills through a club called Locks and Loaded. With more than 20 chapters nationwide, including 3 near New York City, the club bills itself as Jewish-owned and operated. It formed in response to rising anti-Semitism in America and the October 7th, 2023 terrorist attacks in Israel. Anti-Semitism has shaped the lives of members like Werner, who still recalls an incident that happened when he was 12.
And I got jumped from behind by 2 guys who beat the snot out of me, called me a dirty Jew, didn't steal anything, just beat the snot out of me and walked away. Do I recognize that there is...
I can't even take it anymore, man. I'm white, as you can see. I went to grade school in this small farming town here in the west side of the Central Valley. I was literally the only white kid there. All the rest were Mexicans. They bullied me, beat me up, and so on and so on. You see me crying about it? They called me Pinchy Gringo. You see me crying about it? But, oh my God, he has a star and antiseptic behavior when he was 12 years old. We're never going to hear the end of it. And by the way, who emailed me regarding the worst attack that the world's a stage? Sent me a message over there on the Rumble and wanted to remind me that the second anniversary of October 7th attacks, the body cam videos with the cloud were pre-recorded and frauds. And so you could find All the World's a Stage All the World's a Stage 777 on the Rumble, and just search All the World's a Stage on the Odysee, and you too can go see all of these videos. I think he or she, whoever they may be, they've messaged me a few times. They want me to know, and other people have said as much as well. And some of the footage is also AI, like completely fake. But yeah, so, and the stand down and the Hannibal doctrine and on it goes. Okay, where are we at here? We got to get through this. Where are we at? Almost there. I lost my spot. Sorry. To go look up that those messages from All the World is a Stage, but we'll get back there in a second so we can keep everything lined up here. Man, where is it? I had more links than I had thought. Okay. Don't pick on the aardvarks. They may shoot you. Okay, here is talk about make you want to throw up. Here is Christian Zionist Mike Huckabee, ambassador to aardvark land and sell out to America.
No one could do what only the president could do. And that's why I say that he deserves the credit. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, a lot of people have been on the team. But it's the quarterback that threw the touchdown pass, and that's Donald Trump. How grateful I am to be able to serve with him, for him, and to see this incredible achievement that is going to mean the world to these families, but quite frankly, to the entire nation of Israel.
Ambassador, as we're looking here, this is Tel Aviv, this is Hashd Square. Your take, though, just on seeing American flags there as we wait more details on this peace plan.
If Donald Trump were on the ballot in Israel, he would get 95% of the vote. I've told him this, and I said the 5% that didn't vote for him.
There you go. And Trump has said he's the king of aardvark land. So there you go. Traitors in your face. Don't be antiseptic. Here's the Knesset there. That's their Congress, essentially. The Knesset building, or the parliament. The Knesset building is lit up in red, white, and blue to mark the anticipated visit of Trump. Well, more on that. But I wanted to show you the building here. And so this is truly disgusting. There you go. Yay, we're complicit in genocide. Yay, we're great heroes. We got the hostages. It's just so disgusting. Netanyahu meets with Witkoff and Kushner. So here you go. This is what I voted for, right? That's what the memes on the interweb. This is what I voted. Oh, you voted for Kushner, huh? To do a real estate redevelopment deal over there. Oh, I see. Oh. Follow the blood money. Jared Kushner's return to the Gaza peace talks alongside U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff comes as his firm, Affinity Partners, holds a near 10% stake in Phoenix Holdings, Aardvark Land's largest financial group, worth $4.5 billion in settlement financing across the West Bank and Golan Heights. Funded by Gulf monarchies, Kushner's investments tie Arab money to Aardvark Land's occupation. His 2020, quote, peace plan offered annexation for cash, what Abdul Abbas called fit for the trash bin of history. Now he's back pushing the same agenda through high finance. And so again, isn't this what you voted for, MAGA? No? Well, this is what you got, and you should have known this is what you were going to get. Were you paying attention? No, you're just blind by your idol worship of Trump.
Be slowly redone. You have tremendous wealth in that part of the world by certain countries, and just a small part of that, what they make will do wonders for Gaza.
Gaza's going to be redone. Oh, I do see Bindi there. Well, thank you, Bindi. I'm over it, and you won't hear me complaining about it. I just brought it up because this aardvark's complaining about being bullied when he's 12 years old. Well, I think just about everybody probably at some point was bullied. So, yeah, defend yourself. More power to that aardvark. But to sit there and just never let it go and just it runs your life, and you're just going to constantly bring it up when you're freaking in middle age. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. But that is what they do. They're perpetual victims. Sorry, not sorry. You know what I mean? And you should say that genocide is not a good thing. More from Trump here.
We reached a momentous breakthrough in the Middle East, something that people said was never going to be done. We ended the war in Gaza and really, on a much bigger basis, created peace. And I think it's going to be a lasting peace, hopefully an everlasting peace. Peace in the Middle East. We secured the release of all of the remaining hostages, and they should be released on Monday or Tuesday. Getting them is a complicated process. I'd rather not tell you what they have to do to get them. There are places you don't want to be, but we are getting the hostages back on Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, and that'll be a day of joy. I'm going to try and make a trip over. We're going to try and get over there, and we're working on the timing, the exact timing. We're going to go to Egypt, where we'll have a signing, an additional signing. We've already had a signing representing me, but we're going to have an official signing.
Mac, I did not see Greta with her frog hat on. I would enjoy it. Okay, Barack Hussein Obama, Barry Soetoro. He says, after 2 years, let me put it on the screen here for you. After 2 years of unimaginable loss and suffering for aardvark families and the people of Gaza, we should all be encouraged and relieved that an end to the conflict is within sight, that those hostages still being held will be reunited with their families, and that vital aid can start reaching those inside Gaza whose lives have been shattered. More than that, though, it now falls on aardvarks and Palestinians, with the support of the U.S. and the entire world community, to begin the hard task of rebuilding Gaza and to commit to a process that, by recognizing the common humanity and basic rights of both peoples, can achieve a lasting peace. Yeah, good luck with that. They've already told us what their intentions are. That is the aardvarks here now. 16 years ago, on this day, we missed this one. I don't know why I failed to mention it in this day in history section. Oh, because it's not even worth mentioning, but it's part of this section because we're building the narrative here. But on this day, 16 years ago, President Obama was awarded the Nobel Piece of Crap Prize. And so here he is with it. Isn't he wonderful? What a con man Obama is. What a con man Trump is. So here we go. More Trump.
He got a prize for doing nothing.
Exactly.
Obama got a prize. He didn't even know what he got. He got elected, and they gave it to Obama for doing absolutely nothing but destroying our country. No, he was not a good president. The worst president was Sleepy Joe Biden, but Obama was not a good president.
Are you going to do something with the
They gave him a prize. How many months after he won the election, then they gave the Peace Prize, right?
It was right after he was elected.
My election was a much more important election.
Trump. This guy, he wants that Peace Prize badly. Here's a propaganda from the White House. the peace president, 3 days ago, we've bombed Somalia 81 times since Trump's taken office. We've bombed Iraq, Syria, Iran, Somalia, Yemen. He's the peace president, though, don't you know? We live in freaking an alternative reality here. The majority of Americans don't even know or care. Yeah, this guy's bombed 5 sovereign countries for terrorism. And then the Prime Minister of Aardvark Land X account posted this meme. Oh, the irony here. A genocidal, homicidal, maniac, war criminal, Netanyahu, shadow president of America, lobbying, and in this meme, giving Trump the Nobel Peace Prize, peace through strength, peace through genocide, and ethnic cleansing. So there you go. These guys are just, wow. More on Trump. He wants that peace prize.
I know this, that nobody in history has solved 8 wars in a period of 9 months. And I've stopped 8 wars. So that's never happened before. But they'll have to do what they do. Whatever they do is fine. I know this. I didn't do it for that. I did it because I saved a lot of lives. And that's the thing that bothers me so much about the Russia-Ukraine. 7,000 people are dying a week. Young soldiers. They're almost all soldiers of Ukraine and Russia. So in theory, it doesn't affect us, no, but it's a terrible thing. And we'll get that solved too. But nobody has ever done 8 wars. Nobody's done 8 wars in 30 years.
Does it affect us? No, we are the reason why they're dying. This is a proxy war by NATO and America against Russia. And again, Russia's already said the EU and NATO are at war with Russia, and we're this freaking close to them saying America is at war with Russia. Oh, it doesn't affect us. Egyptian President Sisi told Trump that he deserves the Nobel. What a Nobel Peace Prize. What an ass kisser this freaking joker is right here. Sisi. Illuminati sign, anyone? I don't know. People say that they're giving out Illuminati gang signs. I do think that this is like a public. They teach you when you're in the public to not be fidgeting, right? And they're like, do something with your hands. And so many people in public do this. It may also be a Illuminati gang sign. I don't know. But a lot of people say it is. And then I want to push back a little bit. Not saying they're not in all these secret societies, but just saying that it's something to do with your hands so you're not fidgeting is another reason why they would be doing that. But it could also be throwing up gang signs. But I kind of think no. Well, it turns out, sadly for Trump, the Nobel Committee finalized its Peace Prize decision Monday before the Aardvark Hamas hostage deal was brokered under Trump, effectively ruling him out for the 2025 award. It's very sad, isn't it? Zelensky, if Trump gives us tomahawks, we'll lobby for a Nobel Peace Prize for him. Report out of Politico. Nothing says Peace Prize like, starting a major global war with Russia, which this essentially will do. It's just, what planet are these jokers on? What dystopian nightmare are we in? And then King of Aardvark Land, Trump, he's officially been invited to formally address the Aardvark Knesset. And so there you go. Here's the letter inviting him. Today is a historic day. Your leadership, courage, persistence, and vision have led not only to a deal securing the release of all aardvark hostages abducted by Hamas on October 7th, but also to an unprecedented regional agreement accepted by nearly every nation in the Middle East. And so he's going to go talk to his real people over there at the Knesset in aardvark land. Do you see?
Well, they asked me to speak at the Knesset, and I've agreed to. If they would like me to, I will do it.
We should just cut all the bullshit. Trump can go be the president of aardvark land, and Bibi can come be our president. And let's just cut all the bullshit. Let's watch this short clip. Ceasefire achieved in Gaza. Let's watch this report about it from Clash Report.
A ceasefire in Gaza, finally. After 2 years of war, Israel and Hamas just agreed to the first phase of a US-brokered peace deal. The plan pauses all fighting, swaps hostages and prisoners, and pulls Israeli troops back inside Gaza. Hamas will release around 20 surviving hostages, while Israel frees up to 1,700 Palestinian prisoners, including some serving life sentences. Israel's cabinet is expected to approve the deal today. Once that happens, there's a 72-hour window for the first releases and troop withdrawal. Aid convoys run by the UN and Red Crescent are set to roll in as soon as the guns fall silent. The talks were coordinated by Qatar, Egypt, Turkey, and the United States, but big questions remain. Who'll run Gaza next, and will this truce actually last? For now, though, it's the first real pause this war has seen in 2 long years.
I wish it would last. I'm saying it's not going to last. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am wrong. The Gaza truce begins. Little infographic from the Clash Report. They pretty much covered it in that video, the basics about it. Yeah. All these countries took part in the negotiation. Nope, it's all Trump. You know what I mean? It's just Trump. He deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. What about Qatar, Egypt, Turkey? Who cares about those losers? Trump's ended 8 wars, you know. You don't talk about the 5 countries that he's bombed. 81 times bombing Somalia. Seems excessive, don't you think? But hey, what the hell? We got to get those damn terrorists that Western intelligence created, don't you know? A joint aardvark U.S., Egyptian, Qatari, Turkish task force will be formed to locate the remains of killed hostages in Gaza. It will use heavy equipment for digging or demolish buildings if needed. Is there a hostage under there? They're going to continue on with the demolition operation, leveling the whole place. It's according to this report, that's what it looks like, man. The goal is to recover and return the bodies and surviving hostages to aardvark land within 72 hours, allegedly, reported by the Aardvark Post. Yeah, we got all that. Let's see. Surprisingly, Trump does give old President Erdogan of Turkey a little bit of credit here.
So I want to express my tremendous gratitude to the leaders of Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey for helping us reach this incredible day and for being there. They were there with us all the way. And of course, as you know, Saudi Arabia and Jordan and so many. I will tell you, President Erdogan was personally involved in dealing with Hamas and some of the others. He's been great. They've all been really amazing. Indonesia's been amazing.
Surprising he's giving anybody else credit, but hey, yeah, let's switch presidents like season of Wife A. Sisi is a parasite scumbag. Indeed. Nobody's going to be forced to leave. No, it's just the opposite. This is a great peace plan. Well, Trump says they're not going to continue the ethnic cleansing program there in Gaza.
Nobody's going to be forced to leave. No, it's just the opposite. This is a great plan. This is a great peace plan. This is a plan that was supported by everybody. I mean, as I said, they're dancing in the streets of many, many countries right now. It's amazing. I've never seen anything like it.
Really? Team of 200 U.S. troops to oversee Gaza truce, U.S. officials say. So there will be U.S. boots on the ground. They're in Aardvark land. A U.S. military team of 200 people will be deployed to the Middle East to, quote, oversee the Gaza ceasefire between Aardvark land and Hamas. So there's going to be U.S. troops there on the ground. Would Aardvarks, take a shot at them? Yeah, I believe they would. And it was Hamas terrorists, Just saying. Anything can still happen here now. We covered that. Let's see. Trump admits here now, and I do believe it's way bigger than this number, but Trump says 70,000 that's a big retribution, dead Palestinians.
So from the Hamas standpoint, they probably lost 70,000 people. That's big retribution. That's big retribution.
I think they lost more than that, but that's about the official number. So we're going to see how that all sorts out. You cannot live right now in Gaza. We will create something where people can live. Yeah. Trump Tower, Trump Riviera.
Well, they know exactly what we're doing. We're going to create something where people can live. You can't live right now in Gaza. The place it's a horrible situation. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. So, yeah, we're going to create better conditions for people. Yeah, please.
You can admit nobody's ever even seen anything like it. Not in modern times, anyway. So, yeah, right up to the second before the alleged ceasefire, I guess it is in effect now, Aardvarks are whacking them. Aardvark forces are reportedly burning outposts as they withdraw troops from Gaza. Here is this character. What's the name? Khalil al-Hayya. Gaza Hamas chief says that he declares an end to the war today and the start of a permanent ceasefire. Rafah crossing will be open on both sides.
Happy to announce that we have reached a deal for ceasefire to put an end to the aggression and also to proceed to a permanent ceasefire and the withdrawal of the army and to allow the aid to enter to Gaza and to open the Rafah crossing from both sides.
I don't know, man. We'll see. Palestinian Authority plans for major role in post-war Gaza despite U.S. blueprint. The Palestinian Authority plans to play a major role in governing post-war Gaza despite U.S. and Aardvark resistance. While Trump's plan envisions an international technocratic committee led by Tony Blair, amongst others, leading Gaza's transition, the Palestinian Authority, backed by Arab states like Egypt, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia, expects to oversee reconstruction and governance. So now it's a land grab and a money grab for all of these corrupt countries and leaders. No eviction for Palestinian gangs collaborating with Aardvark land in Gaza. A ceasefire in effect. ISIS-linked smuggler Abu Shababa and his militia face an uncertain future for collaborating with Aardvark land during the genocide. You see, they had their oh, well, we'll just call these guys terrorists next. You know what I mean? It just never ends. ISIS linked. They were working with the aardvarks, obviously. Here now. Palestinian collaborator with aardvark land and Wall Street Journal columnist Shababa and his, quote, popular forces will stay in Gaza following the ceasefire. Yeah, so how's he going to be perceived there? You know what I mean? By the Palestinians. Oh, you're working with aardvarks on the genocide. Way to go, bud. You know what I mean? It's just like, what? Here you go. Aardvark land attacks continue to kill Palestinians in Gaza despite ceasefire deal announcement. And they're literally whacking them up to the second. Civil Defense in Gaza reports that its teams are still working at the site of an aardvark strike on a house where more than 40 people are under the rubble in Al Sabra neighborhood in western Gaza City. Hamas says the aardvark airstrike on the Gahabun family home in western Gaza, which killed and wounded over 70 civilians, is a new massacre aimed at derailing mediation efforts and obstructing the ceasefire agreement. The movement calls on mediators and the U.S. to condemn the attack and act immediately to stop the aardvark's assault on civilians. They're constantly trying to provoke. Aardvark secretly removes Marwan Barghouti from prison list, jeopardizing ceasefire deal. And he's a senior Fatah leader, widely considered the most popular Palestinian political figure. He was one of the most high-profile detainees, expected to be traded for 48 aardvark captives under the first phase of the ceasefire deal. This guy right here. According to sources close to him and negotiators, his removal alongside other prominent prisoners, I'm not even going to try to pronounce their names, has thrown the deal into uncertainty. His name is considered a political red line for aardvark National Security Minister Ben-Gvir, whose opposition could threaten Netanyahu's governing coalition. He said as much. We'll get to that report. Here it is. Ben-Gvir, the constant provocateur, trying to provoke a holy war, Armageddon, and fulfill the fake prophecy of the aardvark Messiah's return. Netanyahu promised me to dismantle Hamas. This is Ben-Gvir. And if that does not happen, we will dismantle the government, is what he's saying here now. So Ben-Gvir is not happy with this. You see? Not happy with these peace developments. Bibi said the mission in Gaza is not over yet. That's a report right out of his office. Some of the celebration, but hey, I don't know, man. We're on thin ice here. Everybody's celebrating. It's all wonderful. We're on freaking thin ice. Here is the Turkish Air Force went out there and drew the Turkish flag, the crescent and star, on their, you can see here's images of it. Their flight pattern here. See that? And there's another one. The crescent and star for celebrating the alleged peace deal. Egypt celebrates by flying Egyptian and Palestinian flags together. Wow, you guys really helped them out during the genocide there, didn't you, Egypt? Sorry, can't have the music. There they are, celebrating. Aren't those the same type of gliders, the ones used on the attack? The October 7th attack, allegedly? I think so. But there are the flags they're celebrating. Okay. And what else do we got? We're almost going to wrap up this broadcast. Massive aid operation underway. 170,000 tons of supplies set to enter Gaza. UN Emergency Relief Coordinator Tom Fletcher announced all these supplies, food, clean water, medicine, other supplies are ready to surge into Gaza as the ceasefire takes effect. The UN plans hundreds of trucks daily for 60 days to reach 2.1 million people with food aid and restore basic services after 2 years of genocide and famine. Wow. Yemen has chimed in. Yemen's Houthis say they are monitoring the situation. We do have a cat appearing on the show, the cat Ruby. Now it's gone again. Yemen attacks will stop if aardvarks implement the deal, the Houthis have said. So I think that's what they've always said. Like, why are they shooting at these damn terrorists are shooting at our ships? Damn terrorists. And they kept saying over and over and over again, stop the genocide, we'll stop shooting at your ships. And they're like, these damn terrorists. Yeah, I mean, it's just, oh my gosh. Celebrations in Gaza after Trump's peace plan accepted. So that's it for today. And it's looking good. Day 9 of the government shutdown, a peace, maybe, possibly. Looks like it's kind of flimsy. Excuse me, it's kind of flimsy right now, but hey, we'll pray it holds. Russia, Ukraine, not looking good there. And yeah, not looking good for martial law here in America as Trump is targeting Illinois right now. So we're going to have to follow these developments. For you at Weaponized News, thank you for tuning in on this Thursday broadcast. Let me go quickly to the channels. Odysee. Is there anybody on the Odysee? There is. Fat Bob, Gurr. Let's see here. What's this? A mafia meeting with a woman? No way, Sam. He's clean cut for Jesus and the temple. They obscure the angle, yeah, as we try to spy if they're doing the Freemason handshake there. Trump just needs the spinning hubcaps to roll on his poor theater, lads. Yep. Let's see. There is evidence that Columbus was an aardvark who left Spain. I did see those reports, John, last year, I believe, around Columbus Day. On the last day, aardvarks were allowed in Spain. So Amish takes no guff, right, Trump? Trump shows his ignorance of jabs that matches his ignorance of economics. If Trump keeps talking, nobody can ask about the next list. Yeah. Oh, very true. The display of narcissism was shameless, and I found it disturbing to think that president of this country is a demented child. Thank you guys for the comments and keeping the chat lively on the Odysee, and for tuning in on this Thursday. What else do we got? The YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in on the YouTube. I love the cat Ruby. Orange tabbies are the coolest cats. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'll pet the cat for you. We got that cat through the cat distribution theory. It just showed up one day. and my daughter loves it. So thank you. I'll pet the cat for you. Okay. Thank you, YouTube, for the comments and tuning in there. The Rumble, sorry I couldn't integrate the chat today. It's just so weird. Like one day it works, the next day it doesn't. I don't know what's the deal with Rumble and Restream, but anyhow, there was quite a bit of chat over there. Thank you, guys. Who's over there? Ruckus D2T, Northside, Denver, Pamela, Chloe. Thank you guys for tuning in and keeping that chat lively as well. Well, they had quite a chat over there. Well, thank you guys for tuning in and chatting it up and keeping it lively on the Rumble. Appreciate it. The Bitchute as well. Thank you for tuning in on Bitchute. Thank you for tuning in on Kick, Facebook, and Twitch. And with that, as always, everybody do your own research, peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Thursday evening, and we'll be back here on Friday for more.